Hi, it's Gordon, Fat Old Climber, and I wanted to talk you through how to take the 5th dose using a syringe. This video replaces the previous one I did for a few different reasons. The main one being that I've updated my views on which pen to use. So I wanted to first explain the dosage because I get a lot of questions about it. If you look at the label says 4 doses of 0.6 millilitres, 2.4 millilitres that can be administered. So whilst it doesn't say on that there's at least 3 millilitres in the pen, you're only supposed to inject 4 0.6 millilitre injections. Now, that's the same with every pen. So in this case, a 5 milligrams pen, the concentration is 5 milligrams per 0.6 millilitres. If you look at, for example, this 10 milligram pen, it also says 4 doses of 0.6 millilitre solution, 2.4 millilitres that can be administered. So its concentration is 10 milligrams per 0.6 millilitres. So every single pen, regardless of what dosage you're using, the concentration is whatever it says on the pen by 0.6 millilitres. Every injection is 0.6 millilitres. Now, what that means is a full dose of any pen is 0.6 millilitres. So what we're talking about here is once you've administered your 4 injections frequently, there'll be at least a full dose left. When I say at least, I'm assuming you're taking 5 milligram injections. If you're only taking 2.5 milligram injections from this 5 milligram pen, there are 2 doses here. This is not injectable fluid. I've injected this. This is an old pen. I just wanted to use it for demonstration purposes. So what we're talking about here is how to get the additional 5th dose or golden dose out of the pen using a syringe. How these pens used to work is you would force it, this won't turn, you'll see, you would force it past this blockage, allowing you to still use it. Some people are still finding that working. I tried it once, and all I'll say is I was having to force it a lot more than I expected. Up in this corner you'll see a link to a video I did of the pen teardown where I spot the part that's blocking it going past the 4th dose or the 4th full dose, and I think they've changed it so that whilst it can still be done, it's nowhere near as easy as how it used to be done. So what our options are is either forcing it or using a needle to access this, and I want to talk about using a needle to access it. But first I want to talk about different needles. Now, the needles that come with my quick pen, this is the packaging they come in, are 31G. That's the gauge. That's how wide it is. But 5 millimeters. So what that means is the actual needle part of it is 5 millimeters long. So if I put this on here, this needle, hopefully you can see it, this needle is only 5 millimeters long, which is very, very small. And the reason these needles are small is based on the fact that Mounjaro has to be injected into subcutaneous fat. It's possible in a far longer needle to go too far and go past the subcutaneous fat. I don't think that's dangerous. I just think it means it won't be effective. So that's why they're short. So I'll leave that there, and I want to show you the the needles I got. Now, these are the first needles I got, and all I did to find them was I googled 1 milliliter insulin syringes, and that was just based on advice I'd found online. They only really come in 1 milliliter or half milliliters. I'll talk about that in a minute. But these are 1 milliliters. Now, one of the things about the 1 milliliter ones is you can see the difference between the needles. Now, it might not see it, it might not show it on the camera, but these are considerably, or they look considerably thicker, but they're definitely longer, at least 12 millimeters. So it's well over double the length. And the other is they're 30G gauge. The higher the gauge number, the thinner the needle. So the Mounjaro one is 31G, this one's 30G, which means it's a bit wider. I wasn't concerned about how long they are, basically because I easily have more than 12 millimeters of fat, so I wasn't concerned about it. And when you look at what's on the needle, it doesn't show milliliters either. It shows units. Now, this seems to be a thing with insulin pens. If you look at the side, it goes up to 1 milliliter or 1 cc. So 1 milliliter equates to 100 units. What that means is 0.6 of a milliliter, which you remember is a full dose, is 60 units. Now, those of you that have looked at short dosing will remember that 60 also happens to be how many clicks is in a full dose on the Mounjaro pen. So I don't know if that's coincidence. I can only imagine it is. But 60 units equals 60 clicks equals 0.6 of a milliliter. So if you're looking at extracting a full dose, what you want to do is, I'll need to take this off. In a normal one, there wouldn't be this air bubble. It's just because I've injected it. So how you would use this is you would take this needle and you would put it carefully in the, this is not going to focus, in the end here. So you put it in the end and you can see maybe, probably not because of the air bubble, you can see it going in, and all you need to do, how I do it, is I hold the pen with one hand with these two fingers and hold the needle with these, and then I extract like this. And what you can see is this grey plunger, as you're extracting the liquid, you can see the grey plunger moves. You can see the liquid coming out. And for a full dose, I would take it just past 60. And then your normal tap it and squeeze it until what you've got in there is 60 units or 0.6 milliliters, and then inject that as normal. I'm going to put this back in to show you something. I'm going to get rid of this air bubble. Hold on. Okay, that more or less got rid of it. So that was my option for a full dose. Now, I'm short dosing, which means I'm currently taking 7.5 milligrams from a 15 milligram pen, which means each dose is half a dose, which means instead of 60 units, I'm only taking 30 units. But that's fairly straightforward, half a dose, 30 clicks. But when you look at some of the more complicated dosing, if you were to, for example, taking 75 milligrams from a 12.5 milligram pen, it's this many clicks. And once you figure that out, that's a lot harder to be accurate. So depending on your dosage, you might be taking 38, you might be taking 42 clicks. 42 units is quite hard. So what I decided was, And this is only if you're taking less than a full dose from your pen, it's okay to get a 0.5 milliliter pen. Now, one of the advantages of the 5mm pen, I'll put this back on. One of the advantages of the 5mm pen is the needles are shorter. So whilst it's still bigger than the 5mm, this one's 8mm. So you have the actual quick pen, which is 5mm. Some people's quick pens are 8mm. Different suppliers seem to supply them with different needles, but mine are 0.5. This is 8mm. This is 12mm. So what this means is I don't need to worry at all as my fat decreases or if you've got less fat. But if, for example, I was taking 5 milligrams from a 5mm pen, that would be 0.6 milliliters, which would be 60 units. This pen only goes up to 50 units. So now, whilst I might be able to just eyeball it and take past the 50, I wouldn't advise that. So if you're taking a full dose, you need to get the 100 unit pen, the 1 milliliter pen. And, shop around if you want to get one that's less. So this is also, I think, 30 the same gauge as this one, so it's still wider. But one of the things I'd say is when I was using this pen, I was very concerned at how big it looked, how thick it looked, and how it was going to hurt. And honestly, it's painless to use. So the difference with this pen is if I wanted to get, for example, 42 clicks, remember the units correspond to clicks. So 42 clicks would be 42 units. So it'd be a lot easier for me to get 42 units using this pen than it would be with the 1 milliliter pen. So I would just do the same. I would inject it into the end. Now, because it's smaller, you can't actually see that it's in, but it is in. And then I'm drawing up. So it's actually harder. You need to be more accurate to get the needle right in. And then draw up past the 40. And then tap it to get the air bubbles to the top. And then you can see that that's now 42 units. So my plan going forward is to use this pen, the 0.5 milliliter pen, to extract my 7.5 milligrams from my 15 milligram pen. If you're taking a full dose, my recommendation is get the 100 unit pen. If you don't use a 100 unit pen, if you use a 50 unit pen, 0.5 milliliter pen, you're going to have to inject yourself more than once to get 60 units. But if you're using single units, if you're taking just the fifth full dose from a normal pen, you need the 1 milliliter one. But shop around to see if you can get the smaller needles if you like. I found these okay. If you're taking shorter doses, it's okay to get the 0.5 milliliter or 50 unit injection. Easier to find them, easier to find those online, shorter. And then there you have a comparison with all three needles. The one that comes with a quick pen, remember 31G 5 millimeters. The one that comes in this pen, which is 30G, slightly wider. Actually, I think it might be 31G. I'm going to quickly check. Hold on. Yeah, I thought so. The 0.5 ones, the 50 unit ones are 31G. So they're the same gauge. They're the same thickness as the one that comes with my pen. But they are 3 millimeters long, which is not much longer. These ones, however, are 30G, which is definitely thicker. I don't know by how much. It looks bigger, but it doesn't feel bigger when you use it. But 12 millimeters long, a lot longer. I get a lot of questions about do you only inject it in part way? I didn't bother, but again, I had plenty of fat. As that reduces, I guess it could be a problem. And I guess you could only inject it in a bit. Really hard to do though. I'll insert here the piece of video of me injecting. This is me when I used this pen to take my last fifth golden dose. You have the syringe rather, stick it in, and then slowly press the plunger. I try and put it in about the same time, and then hold for a 5 count. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it out. So that's it. So if you are short dosing, how many clicks, remembering clicks correspond to units, is a particular dose of a particular pen. But if you're just using a normal dose, a normal full dose from your pen, if you're taking 5 milligram dose from a 5 milligram pen, remember it's 60 units or 0.6 milliliters. If like me, you're taking half, so if you were taking 2.5 milligrams from this pen, it'd be 30 clicks, or 0.3 milliliters or 30 units. Hopefully that answers all your questions. I'll put links in the description to these pens. I'm not recommending these pens. What you'll notice when you look at them, although it says on the packaging, disposable insulin syringe, it does not say that on Amazon. It describes them as measuring tools. You can get them from chemists online. Some people that have commented on the previous video actually managed to just go into their chemist and order them. So hopefully that answers all your questions. Hopefully I won't get asked how many milliliters is X dose from X pen. But if you have any questions that I haven't answered in this video, then feel free to ask. Thanks for watching.